Welcome to the Probate Realtor Show, your one source for selling and buying real estate through trust and probate. Hear directly from the best attorneys and trusted advisors on how executors and administrators navigate the probate process in and out of court. Being a personal representative or successor trustee can be a daunting task, and often beneficiaries don't have a clear plan. Let us help you make the right decision for your clients, your family, and your legacy. And now, here's your host, the probate realtor himself, Matias Baker Masucci.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of our show. Today, we are talking to Dina Mabry, who is an insurance broker. Dina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I am very excited to have you on because in the world of estate planning and probate, the question of insurance often comes up, and we get to see what happens when people don't have enough insurance. We get to see all these things in our world. So without further ado, let me ask you the first question. This episode is going to be focused on long-term care insurance. And then from there, we will talk about other products. But our audience may not even know what it is. Can you tell me, what is long-term care insurance?
Okay. So long-term care insurance is if you cannot take care of yourself, being that you can't bathe, dress, toilet, transfer, eat, or have continence, or if you have a cognitive impairment. If you can't do those things, we call them activities of daily living, then you need someone to come in and take care of you. The problem is if you don't have a long-term care plan or a policy, most of the time that burden falls on your family, usually the oldest daughter. And the oldest daughter does not want to take care of you.
Right. Yes. I have a lot of kids. Hopefully one of them will be stuck with me, but no, but seriously. So this type of insurance, when those needs are called upon, needed, this type of insurance kicks in. We know that needs change over time. Does the insurance adapt? How does it work? Is it like a blanket coverage, or does it have like different sections that are for different needs?
No, that's a good question. So normally what happens is you buy a policy today, let's say you're in your 50s, and you pay for it over maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, and then the policy's all paid up. But what's great about the policies is the benefits are going to grow at 3% compounding as you're aging. So when you're 85 years old, you're going to have this huge bucket of money to take care of yourself. And what's really cool is that all long-term care benefits are tax-free. Now, I can't find tax-free money very many places, so it's pretty cool to have tax-free money.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me ask you this, because I wanted to understand. You sign up for the policy, and you start paying, and you pay up to a point, like you said, like 10, 20 years, whatever, and then it stops, and then you have the policy paid up for, right?
Exactly.
So you've accumulated some money. Now, the time needs, you need to go in assisted care. It can be very expensive. Could be $100,000 a year in some cases. How does long-term care insurance work? It runs out, like it's the money you paid, and then they'll give you that money back? Or is it like an infinite amount that you can use forever?
It depends. So the product that I bought has unlimited benefit years, which means that if I get the bad stuff, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and I'm on claim, oh my goodness, 8 to 10 years can be average. There's no limit to how many years I can stay on claim. Now, of course, the monthly benefit will be fixed, and it'll depend on how much premium I put in, what age I bought it, because don't forget, the younger and healthier you are, the less expensive it is. And then also how much, with compound inflation, what age I go on claim. Okay,
so the monthly benefits are limited, so there's a limit, but I'm sure the limit is reasonable within whatever the amount. So even if it helps, even if it covers just 50%, that's huge. Even if it covers 50% of your needs. Okay, so let's say, just for the argument's sake, that the monthly benefit are $1,000, right? Those benefits, in your case, the policy you said that you bought, will go on forever, for as long as you need them, right?
Yes.
Correct. Great. That's great to know. And there's other type of policy which have a cap, like they say, we'll give you, we'll pay you 150,000, and then 6 years. Okay, good. That got it. Now, I sold a house of a lady once. She was 106 years old. 106 years old. So fortunately, she was very wealthy and had a good estate. So she had no, her care, she was well taken care of. But in the case of somebody who ends up living that long, it's better to, when you recommend the product, you're thinking, look, you may want to get something that the benefit, you stay on, what did you say? You used the word, you stay on claim. Is that what you said?
Stay on claim, yes.
You stay on, look at you, you have the verbiage, the nomenclature, the way that insurance brokers talk. You stay on claim for as long as you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And once that, other policy, you have, like you said, 6 years. Okay. The distinction of the difference. Now you said the earlier, the younger you are when you get it, the cheaper it is.
Yes.
Okay. And how long usually does it take to pay off your long-term care insurance policy?
That's a great question. I just worked with a client. They inherited a bunch of money, of real estate and a bunch of money, and they repositioned a lump of money. They actually did a single pay of $150,000 into a long-term care policy. Done. I was so proud of them. They were in their early 40s, 42 and 46. And instead of buying a Tesla, they decided to plan and diversify and protect their family, and they bought a long-term care policy. So you can do a single pay as well. You can reposition assets. There's a lot of people with money sitting on the sideline, gets a little scared.
And is that the cost? Is that how about how much it costs? 150 grand if you want to do like a single, just boom, paid off.
That would be a really good policy for a husband and wife. They can have a joint policy, and they could do it they could have a policy together, do a single pay, and be done.
Now it grows at 3% compound interest a year.
Yep.
What happens if you never use the policy?
Oh, that's a great question. So it's not use it or lose it, because there's a life insurance chassis that these new hybrids are on. And I say new, probably the last 10 years we've been doing this.
New enough.
The long-term care is on a life insurance chassis. So if you just live to 106 years old and you pass away peacefully in your sleep and you never need care, your premium will go back to your family in the form of life insurance.
Okay, in the form of life insurance with the compound interest that it has accumulated over the years. That would be the value of the policy?
The interest doesn't normally accumulate on the life insurance component. It only accumulates on the long-term care component. But the life insurance, think of the life insurance as like a return of premium. So let's say, for example, that couple that put in $150,000, they both get hit by a bus, God forbid. The 150 or so that they put into the policy will then be returned to their family in the form of life insurance.
Oh, okay. So they get back 150.
Yeah.
That's what they get. Okay.
Exactly.
In the form of a sort of a life insurance. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So this product particular, the long-term, what do you see it in your experience? What is it used for mostly?
Oh boy, before COVID, people talked about the facilities and going and playing bingo and having somebody take care of them. But boy, during COVID, everybody kept saying, I want to stay home. I don't want to be locked up in a place like that. So home care is really where people want to be that I speak to. So they are envisioning their life. Matias, you sold them a very nice one-story house on the west side, and they have everything's flat. There's no stairs, and they want to age in place. Maybe they're a solo ager and they want to age in place. So now they want someone to come in. Maybe they come in 3 or 4 days a week, and they help them with their bathing and their toileting and their transferring. And then guess what? The kids get to come over, the grown children, the grandchildren, and they get to watch Netflix. They get to hang out. They don't have to bathe mom. They don't have to toilet mom. And I think that's where people really want independence. They want opportunity, they want options, and they want independence.
Okay, so this can kind of be tailor-made to whatever. So you have the policy, and then you can say, look, I'm only going to use it for this needs, for this thing. So it can also be used for like transportation?
Not necessarily. It's really those, if you can't do 2 of those 6 activities of daily living.
So there are specific activities that are covered by the policy.
And that's the trigger to go on claim. Yes.
The trigger to go on claim. Okay, great. Now, your world doesn't stop at long-term care insurance. You have, when you do the planning, there's other tools that you use. You mentioned life insurance, for instance. So how can these two work together, if you will?
That's a great question. So the young families that I work with, people that maybe have 4 children, like someone, they're really concerned about dying too soon. Like
Right.
if they don't come home, how is the mortgage going to be paid? How are those kids going to be educated? How
Right.
mom take time to grieve and be there for the kids? So I love term life insurance because you can get a lot of it and it's inexpensive.
Right.
Let's protect the family, kind of put a big blanket and protect that family. But then when we start to get a little bit older, we think, my kids are grown now, they're out of the house. And then you worry about maybe living too long and taking care of yourself. There are other products. John Hancock has an excellent product that's actually a life insurance product, and you put a long-term care rider on there. So now you have a complete bucket of money that you can use dollar for dollar while you're alive, or it'll pass on to the kids when you pass away. So there's so many different ways. It doesn't have to be one policy. There's so many different ways that a whole family can be protected.
Very good. That makes sense. So you have this product that you mentioned, for instance, you have a combination of term life insurance, is that what it is, and long-term care insurance combined together. What are have you had clients, I'm assuming you have, who had to start using their long-term care insurance?
Yes.
In your experience, how is it, sometimes people have troubles with insurance companies. They're like, they deny the claim and blah, 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 and all of these things. What is the process when somebody, calls you and says, look, it looks like it's time for me to, use that long-term care insurance? How do you advise them to proceed?
Well, what's great about these? Well, okay, so for life insurance, the death claim,
Of course,
that's how it gets
that's
paid
different.
out. And that's tax-free too. A lot of people don't know that life insurance is 100% tax-free. But on the long-term care side, if you cannot perform 2 of your 6 activities of daily living or have a cognitive impairment, you need to call the carrier, and the carrier assigns you a care coordinator. And most of the carriers do a really good job with that. You have a person that helps you. These are your benefits. Do you want to be at home? Do you want to go to a facility? And most of the money that comes to you will be a reimbursement.
Okay.
So you paid out the money and then the carrier reimburses you.
Oh, okay. Got it. So you essentially, you have the flexibility of being able to select your own service providers that you like.
Yes.
And then you make the payment. Okay, that's very good. If you think about it, it's like when you get to select your own mechanic when you take your car and you make a claim. So that's definitely a good benefit. Now, what other products are integral, you feel, to estate planning? We have life insurance. I know this episode is not really focused on life insurance, but I think it's, we kind of long-term insurance. We talked about life insurance as well. Right. People talk about, term and whole, and now I think they don't even use the word whole anymore. Now it's something else. You said you like term because you can buy a lot for cheap. Right. And there's hybrid products, or not hybrid, but you can combine the two. Now, if somebody's interested in the other, what do they call it? Comprehensive now? What's the term?
Universal life, really.
Universal. There you go. So can somebody also do universal with long-term care?
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. And term too. So like I got my big term policy. Well, I got a little term policy when I first got married, because that's what you do, right? And then I got my big term policy for millions when I was 40, but that's going to go away when I'm 60 because it's only for 20 years.
Right.
And I layered on the permanent. And you're right. We really don't say whole life as much. We do more universal life.
Universal life.
But, we've got an estate tax issue going on in this country too. Who knows what the exemption is going to be? Right now, it's really high, but we're going to be sunsetting that. I remember when I got into this business, I've been doing life insurance since 2007. The exemption was $1 million per person. I mean, most people in California had an estate tax problem, right?
Of course.
So what happens, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but the government wants their money in 9 months after death. So if you're going on a fire sale and selling properties, or you're having to sell investments, you're having to liquidate, God forbid you don't have an estate plan and then things have to go to probate.
Right.
You got to have money coming in. So life insurance is a very good way to make sure that family is protected.
Very nice. So universal life insurance stays with you, until you die, while, term obviously ends at a certain time. That's good. Now, we talked about briefly, you are a broker, which is not, you're not an insurance agent, you're an insurance broker. What is the difference?
I'm kind of both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But what is the, like if I talk to like a farmer's agent or,
right.
like what is the difference between what you do and what is it and what like somebody who works for a specific company?
That's a great question. So I'm not what's called captive. I guess if you were to call like an insurance agent that maybe works for one company, they would be captive. And they're pretty much going to stay and sell that product and that company. I have everybody, and I kind of joke that I love them and I hate them all equally. There's no favorites. So we just pick the best carrier for the client. And that's important because a lot of carriers are very different with what they like and what they don't like. Like, for example, with marijuana being legal, we have some carriers that still will ding the client and give them a smoker rate if they do marijuana. And we have other clients that are like, we don't care if they're doing, this amount, they have guidelines. And then we have other carriers that are a little bit more lenient on height and weight. So I know with COVID, some people joke that they put on the COVID-19, but if the weight is a little bit higher, it's important that you look at which carrier will give the best rating because that affects the premium. Nobody wants to pay more for life insurance than they have to.
Of course. Now, let me ask you, for long-term care, are there restrictions in getting that as well?
There are. So, the biggest problem are people that are in physical therapy or having joint injections. Like I was talking to a guy, he called me yesterday and he wants to get long-term care, but he has to have shoulder surgery. I said, well, you got to get your shoulder done, go through physical therapy and get released from care. And then we'll look at long-term care.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So, and then you've got a lot of medications too. So what I do is we do a full analysis beforehand. What medicine are you taking? Are you in physical therapy? Can you get around? Do you have any problems with any of your joints? And then we decide if we're going to apply because we don't want any declines.
Got it.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. Now let's talk a little bit about your journey, if you will. How did you end up where you are today? Did you grow up in Los Angeles?
I did.
Oh, okay. Where in LA did you grow up?
So my parents, actually, I was born in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My dad was in the Air Force. Then we moved to Alaska. But when I was 3, we moved to the San Fernando Valley over by Pierce College.
Oh, very nice.
And then my parents made the big move from the San Fernando Valley out to Agora Hills. And everyone said they would never see us again. Goodbye. But then so I'm an
that 101 is treacherous.
Crazy.
Very nice. Now, tell me how you got to become an insurance broker.
So out of college, I was a pharmaceutical rep and I sold infant formula and a lot of things for pediatricians. And I think, I always think about this of myself. I'm a mom. I'm all about protection and planning. And so I worked in pharmaceuticals where we supported pediatricians and OBGYNs like a mom would. And then I took a little bit of time off. I actually have 3 children and 2 of my children are twins.
Oh, wow.
So when my twins were born, I said, I need a little bit of time. I need to be home.
God, yes.
Nobody was doing anything very well. So I took some time off and then there was a local coffee store and there was a man that came in every day and he kept saying, come work for me. Come work for me. You need to sell life insurance. And I remember laughing saying, well, that's a great way to lose all my friends and family. Life insurance, right? Nobody's going to want to talk to me. But when he explained the broker route, I really work closely with estate planning attorneys and financial advisors and other professionals. And then I help them with their clients. Once I realized that there was a definite niche for me there, I went to work for him in 2007 and I haven't looked back since.
Wow, that's wonderful. Very nice. Good. Now, before I let you go, I want to do we'll play a little game.
Okay.
So I have a list of 30 questions that are numbered from 1 to 30. I would like for you to pick a number and I will ask you that question. So you'll be responsible for the question I ask you.
Oh boy. Okay, 28.
28. If you could be invisible for a day, what would you do?
You know what? I'd go to the White House and I'd sit in with Congress and see what's really going on.
Oh, okay.
How's that?
There you go.
I don't know if I'm getting the whole story.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. All right, let's do one more.
Okay, let's do 23.
23, okay. Oh, I love this one. I don't think I've ever asked that actually. What quality do you think helps a person get on in life best?
Oh, You know, the first thing that hit my mind was kindness. Because I just
Oh, I
love
love it.
kind people.
That's probably what I would have said.
But then I always think grit. Just have grit. Don't be too weak.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I saw a billboard in on Venice Boulevard that said, "Kindness is the highest form of wisdom." I loved it. I sent it to my parents. I translated it in Italian and sent it to my parents.
Are your parents still in Italy?
Yes, yes, they are. But I got to see them. They get to come. They were just here in March to see they're coming back in July again. So
good.
Now they're and I go back. I mean, traveling with 4 kids, it's a nightmare. I don't even want to go there. It's like we haven't even tried it. We tried with 3 kids in 2021, and it was a nightmare.
I bet.
But my first 2 are very easy to travel with. But yeah, I can't believe you had twins. I didn't know that. It's great.
It was a lot. There was a lot. I was living my best life with one daughter, and then bam, twins.
Wow.
She even said no.
Oh, by the way, before I let you go, you know, your background, which is not a background, that's your place. It's fantastic. How do you achieve such wonderful home decor? It almost looks fake.
It's real, except for my cords over there. I need to fix that over there.
Oh yeah. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, everybody, about the cord. Yeah. All right. So before I let you go, anybody who's going to be listening to this on, Spotify, the show, or YouTube, watching it on YouTube, your contact information are going to be in the show notes. But what I want to know is, can you tell our audience what's the best way to reach you?
Oh boy, call me. Call my cell phone, 818-601-3049.
Okay, wonderful.
I'll answer.
Dina, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for all the valuable information you've shared with our audience. And have a wonderful week, everybody. Thank you for joining our show. We will see you in the next episode. Bye.